Welcome back to the Clubhouse Reps. We got a new guest this week. I'm Kate Anderson. That's Lucas Holden. And our special guest this week, Mr. Paul Wimmer, currently Milwaukee Brewers fan. Paul, how you doing after this weekend? I know it was maybe a little bit, there was some celebration. Then the D-backs came into town and did a toll on you guys. How you feeling after this week?
It's okay. I mean, might have celebrated a little too hard winning the Central Division, but the game yesterday is it's a good way to end. Coming back from an 8-0 down. I mean, I know we lost, what was that, 3 before that, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're division champs. We're making the playoffs, so that's the goal in mind.
That is the golden line. So we're going to get into that game. We're going to get into that series. Big week of baseball. There's a week left of baseball, 6 games, maybe 7 for some teams. The D-backs have 6. So we're going to get into that right away, but we're going to recap that Brewers D-backs series. Game 1, Snakes won 5-1. Brandon Pfaadt collected a career-high 12 strikeouts, went 7 2/3. Really a strong outing for Brandon Pfaadt. I know the Brewers had a couple guys on the bench. I think they had Contreras on the bench and Frelick, their right fielder, on the bench as well. So that was a good win. Game 1 coming off kind of a pretty shitty series in Colorado. Game 2, Gallen pitched pretty well for 4 innings. Snakes win 7-4. And then he gave up, I think, 3 homers in the 4th inning to tie it 4-4. And then kind of some subpar pitching from the Brewers. I think Pat Murphy was kind of trying to protect the bullpen and ended up walking in a run to make it 7-4 in the 8th inning. That kind of killed the offense. And then game 3, Merrill Kelly throws a gem after 5 innings. Bullpen, kind of led by Joel Manaply, 2 innings, pitched 5 Ks. Peterson had a 2-run homer. Herrera gets his first home run in 300 plate appearances, and then Marte hits that 2-run homer. D-backs win 5-0, shutout the Brewers here. And in the game, I think we're all kind of looking to talk about is Game 4 on Sunday, kind of in the middle of some football. Lou, what did you see here?
I mean, I think this game was tough, right? Like, it was kind of tough to watch, too, from a fan perspective with all the football going on. So I'll say definitely missed some details here and there. But going up 8-0, I think there's nothing to blame about our offense. I mean, what else? You can't ask for much more. Guys are still doing exactly what they were doing last week. I mean, talked about Pavin last week. Still really big. He had a few homers. Lourdes really stepping in, getting hot was kind of big for us. So just going up 8-0 and then just them coming back was just brutal. I think it breaks our mental, and we need to do something about our pitching, whether that's somebody's got to step up and be a leader. What do you think about from the other side, Paul? Like, how did you view that game?
The last game, that Sunday game, was crazy. I mean, we have a guy named Frankie Montes pitching. He's been pretty iffy throughout the whole year.
Traded from the Reds, right?
I think he gave up 7 runs in two
just in that third
and a half inning, or two and a third of pitching. I don't know. I think right now Murphy is struggling with the bullpen because he's trying to save some guys. But I mean, our starting pitching this year, just in general, has been kind of iffy. But I mean, I think it's just one of those games where you give up 8 runs and you got nothing to lose, so you're just letting it rip. And we came back. I don't know. I think that Montgomery, who pitches for the Diamondbacks, is just his all year has just been not very good. And I think he went in there. With the 8-0 lead. He let it sink. So I don't know. I think it's 2 very equal teams, and it's just one of those games. It's the end of a 4-game series, so I mean, anything can happen. But it was fun. It was fun to watch either way. I mean, if you're a fan of the Diamondbacks, it was fun. Fan of the Brewers, it was fun. A lot of runs is what you want, but it's just one of those games where you can't really predict.
From my perspective, I think like the fact you guys have already made the playoffs, so of course you're not going to completely put in all of the effort that you would if you're still competing like we are in our shoes. So the fact that we didn't win that game, although it is baseball, anybody can win. The fact we really didn't win that game because it was kind of a 50-50 game in a few different ways is really infuriating. And I think you said it right with Montgomery, which Kate and I have talked about previously, is just like, potentially starting Yilber or just getting anybody else in some bullpen game. I mean, get creative, right? Like it's not going to work if it's not going to work. So it's frustrating. And now the Diamondbacks are really in a spot where it's do or die. I mean, everybody needs to play good. Otherwise, the Braves could still make it in over us. That's what I'm equating it to is a race between the Braves and us right now. And, as if they get healthier, I think we're screwed. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. I mean, Lou, the fact of the matter is that Jordan Montgomery's fucking horrible. And there's really no other way to say it. I mean, he comes into the game and he just blows it. He pitches short amount of innings, gives up 4 runs in 4 1/3. Yilber Diaz actually came in, pitched 1 2/3, 2 hits, no earned runs. So through 6 innings, they're up 8-3, and then Thompson comes up, gives up 2 runs, and this is a managerial. You pitched Manaply on Thursday, and then you pitch him Saturday and now Sunday, and he gives up 3 runs. What is Torrey doing there? Pitching an older guy.
Is he betting on Joe or something? I don't get it. Like,
we don't have many guys in the bullpen, but you don't put a guy who's old and overused. He's been hot, and you just killed his confidence now. He gave up 3 runs.
At this point, like, put him
of course he gives up $1 million. Why? I don't. I would have liked to seen Walston, or I think Walston, the lefty. And then Jamar kind of just looked exhausted. I mean, he was just throwing it over the middle of the plate. I mean, again, some late managerial calls by Torrey that you just want to throw your head and go, what the fuck?
You know what? One thing that I've seen is obviously the bullpen's been an absolute mess, but a guy that I've really liked as our closer, and I think honestly should be our full-time closer over Jamar is Puck. AJ Puck, sorry. He should definitely, I think, be the guy. He's been the best in our bullpen. I know that's kind of a hot take, but with the way that J Mart's pitching, he's the 8th guy. I think AJ Puck is the closer. He's been the most reliable guy. I don't know if you guys have any takes on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I try to watch some D-backs games, but I think that Martinez, besides yesterday, he's just a pretty strong closer.
Yeah, he's
except for the last few, but I think he's pretty strong. He throws hard. I mean, he throws 100, 102. I think he's a good closer. But one thing about yesterday's game is you guys didn't give up any home runs. You didn't give up 1 home run, and we had 10 runs and no home runs. I mean, that's always strong. I mean, I know you gave up a lot of just hits in general, but no home runs. But Puck and Martinez are probably your best closers. I mean, they're both pretty strong guys.
Sure.
I think they're playing well.
I would agree with you too, Paul. But I would say Martinez is not. He is our future closer. He's not completely polished right now.
He's young.
Yeah.
He's young.
Yeah,
he's a young guy. Well, D-backs fans will be rooting for the Milwaukee Brewers this week. They play the Mets, which is a big series. I think that's do you guys play them in the last? Is it the last week? I think they play them the last series, right, of the season.
I think we play the Pirates and then we play the Mets.
Yeah. So the D-backs will be rooting for the Milwaukee Brewers. There's 7 games left. Lucas, I think the D-backs number is 3. I think they need to win 3 games to guarantee their spot in the playoffs. Because they have a 2-game lead on Atlanta. I think if they win 3 games, it's a 2-game lead.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That's the number. I think that's the number, and I think that's really realistic. You win 2 against San Fran, and then hopefully get 1 against the Padres, maybe 2.
Sure, but you
But
never
if you're
know.
looking,
You
if
got to
you're looking for
close.
home field advantage, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for home field advantage against the Padres, then you're going to have to probably sweep them.
Yeah,
which is going
I
to
don't think
be
it's gonna be tough. I don't know if that's
you know,
going to happen. I also don't think home field advantage matters that much in baseball. I think getting in
yeah,
is
I
getting
would
in.
agree with
Last
you.
year we proved it.
Yeah,
The Diamondbacks they debunked that last year. So
Yeah.
and so did
you guys are fine.
the Rangers. So did the Rangers.
Absolutely.
So right now in the National League, the Dodgers lead the division with their 93 and 63. Phillies are 92 and 64, and then the Milwaukee Brewers are 89 and 67. Kind of in that final third spot. They probably can't move up anything. And then it's the Padres at 90 and 66, and the Mets and Diamondbacks 87 and 69. And then the Braves on the out, looking in at 85 and 71. Braves and Mets play this week. Let's toss it over to Paul. Paul, who would you rather see out of those 3 teams? Because it's probably not going to be the Padres. So if it's the Mets, Diamondbacks, or Braves coming to Milwaukee, who's your fan? Who do the Milwaukee Brewers want to play?
I think like personnel wise, I mean, I was talking about this with Big P Dub. We prefer them. I mean, I prefer the Mets. I mean,
Yeah,
I know the Braves are very, very injury ridden, and they have been the whole year. And I think that's why they kind of had more of a disappointing year. I would prefer the Mets. The Diamondbacks. I don't think they get enough credit. I think they are an underrated team. I mean, they're behind 2 teams that are, they have 90 wins, right? They have 90 wins.
yeah,
That's tough. I don't want to see the Diamondbacks because on any given day they can hit, like you saw, like 7 or 8 runs. I don't want to do that. And we saw them last year, and I don't think we were in 2 of those games were close. So I would prefer the Mets. I think the Mets are a decent team, but sometimes their pitching is a little shaky. But I think for the Brewers, I think the Mets would be probably the best matchup. I think that honestly, the Diamondbacks would be the worst out of the Braves, Mets, and Diamondbacks. I don't want to see the Diamondbacks anymore this year, honestly.
I think in a 3-game set, the Diamondbacks can piece together some manufactured pitching.
They can.
Obviously, I think Lou would agree on this one. In a 7-game set, I don't see the D-backs winning long term because the pitching can't hold up. In a 3-game set, I think we can manage.
Unless it does, and playoff ball is just a different kind of ball. So, we'll see who comes to play once the standings are finally set.
I think the Diamondbacks match up a lot better against Milwaukee than they do the Padres. I think Milwaukee
I would agree.
has the pitching, but they just lack a little bit of the bats. That'll be interesting to see.
One thing they have too is kind of the defense, and they kind of remind me of the Diamondbacks in that sense. Is like Frelick. I think he robbed a home run in the series, not last series, but the series before. Incredible. And then he had another few good plays. So just
Contreras,
like that.
Their catcher.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with our defense. I mean, our defense is amazing. I mean,
exactly.
Our second baseman is crazy. Willie Adames, our shortstop, is good. I mean, outfield, we have Churio on the left. I mean, who took over? I mean, we don't even have Yelich in our defense. Good. I mean, he's 20. He can. I mean, he's faster than anyone. I mean, our defense is good. It's just, sometimes it's just our hitting. It lacks sometimes, but when we get going, it's like the Diamondbacks.
Exactly.
When it rains, it pours. I mean, you can see with the Diamondbacks. I mean, sometimes they'll go cold for 6 innings, and then you turn on the TV, and they're up 6-3 or 7-4, and it's like you're like, wow, you can't look away for a second. But I think both teams are very equal. So I mean, if they were to play, it'd be fun, and it's kind of a toss up. But
yeah, definitely.
I don't think either team wants to see each other.
No, I agree, and especially from a Diamondback standpoint, just like I think the Diamondbacks are good. Although I believe offense is king, and I do believe that their offense is just as good, if not better, than the Brewers. But their pitching is definitely in question. And I think that the fact that the Brewers have that defensive aspect kind of mentally affects us because that's what we get off on. That's what we win on, is that defensive edge. And, we don't have that with you guys. So I think that'd just be a very tough matchup.
So the Brewers will have home field advantage, at least in the wild card round. They probably will be playing. And then the Diamondbacks have the Giants tonight, Monday, September 23rd, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, and then they get a day off, and then they play the Padres in the final series of the season for Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Chase. So that'll be good. We'll see how these last kind of 6 games round out, and hopefully we can make that final push for the playoffs. And then American League wise, the wild card has certainly taken a turn. The Twins have lost the 22 out of the last 33 games.
Whoa.
They're out of the wild card. The Detroit Tigers are now in that final spot, tied with the Royals, and then 4 games back. Both those teams are 4 games back of the Orioles, and then the Astros sit in the 3rd spot, Guardians in the 2nd, and the New York Yankees in that first American League division leader. And that'll be an interesting race come these last 6 games. A lot of important baseball here down the stretch, and it starts tonight. So that'll be fun to look forward to. Lou, I'll start with you. What do you see happening in this postseason? What's the most exciting thing kind of coming from you, postseason wise? What are you most looking forward to? D-backs? Anything else?
I'm hoping to see another run. Either the D-backs go on a similar run as they did last year, or another team to replicate something like that. That's why I love baseball. And the team gets hot. I just want to see a team get hot and really, be that underdog. I think that's the coolest story. It was a really special moment for us as a fan base last year to experience. So if it's not us, I hope it's another fan base.
Yeah. Paul, what about you? What are you looking most forward to? Hopefully the Brewers can make it out of the wild card this year with a new manager.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Brewers can take it far. I mean, they had a good year. I mean, they were in first place pretty much from the gate, which is really cool. It's to see with Pat, because Pat Murphy. I mean, he's awesome. He was our bench coach for a while under council. He coached ASU for I think it was like 12 or 15 years. So he's awesome. I think he's done a great job. I would love to see them, win. It's been a while, but even to touch on the Diamondbacks, I mean, I know they'll be away, but I'm pretty sure they have a better away record than home record this year.
Yeah, I think
which
that's
is pretty
true.
crazy. They're an enigma.
They
that
do
team.
now.
The Diamondbacks are an enigma. I mean, you can't really break them. But I just want to see. I would like to see, maybe a wild card team or someone like the Brewers. I don't want to see Dodgers or Yankees win. I mean, it would be cool to see like a Tigers in the series. See Scooball pitch and everything. But I would like to see an underdog win this year. But I think it's going to be really fun. Playoff baseball is the best. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Well, we'll move into a little preview of the World Series. Paul, I'll start with you. Who do you have going into the big dance and getting that pretty girl and walking out on top in the World Series?
I mean, I unfortunately am gonna go with the Dodgers. Even said I don't want them in there. I mean, they're loaded. I mean, you watch them play, and every guy who comes up to bat, you're like, oh, all right. You look at his stats, and it's crazy. I do have them loaded. I mean, Shohei is too dirty. Freeman is too dirty. I mean, all those guys are unbelievable. Teoscar Hernandez has had an amazing year. So I mean, I have them coming out on top, unfortunately, but I'm hoping maybe an underdog can come in and break up the party. But I got the Dodgers this year.
Who's your pick, kid?
So my pick, and I'm thinking they are going to be last year's D-backs is, unfortunately, the San Diego Padres. They look like the most complete team the past 2 months. They have the pitching, they have the bullpen, and they got that something that just it looks right. Profar, Tatis, Jackson Merrill. I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. I think the Padres make a deep run. That's why I don't want to see the D-backs play him in the first round, Lou. I'm really scared of the Padres, more scared than I am of the Phillies, and maybe even the Dodgers, because the Dodgers don't have the pitching figured out like I think the Padres do. You know, just Cease, King.
That's true.
I mean, they have it figured out. So I'm looking forward to the Padres, hopefully making a deep run. Lou, what's your World Series pick? Give us some reasons.
So I got a little bit of a wild card pick. I'm going to choose the Houston Astros, and
that's no wild card pick.
A little bit. I mean, you're talking. I mean, they're not the Yankees this year, but they have that postseason experience.
They've only been to the ALCS the last 7 years.
Okay, yeah, okay, fair. No, I like the Astros. I just think it's a good pick.
I love that pick. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Astros. You know, they're only one series away from the World Series, so you know they'll be there at the end of the day. They're looking good. Yordan Alvarez got hurt yesterday, but I think he's going to be okay. So that'll be fun to see. Looking forward to some playoff baseball. Hopefully the D-backs are in it. We're going to switch over to some college football. Week 4. My game of the week last week was NC State at Clemson, and it was never close. It was 28-0 by the first quarter. Clemson absolutely ruined my shot and hopes and dreams of the Wolfpack ever being good or making a playoff run. So that was disappointing to see.
Paul, they do not look good.
No, the Wolfpack unfortunately are out. Paul, ASU Sun Devils, they were on the road this week at Texas Tech. Did you happen to catch your Sun Devils?
I did. I got to watch some of it. Majority of the game, they were not in it, unfortunately. They kicked too many field goals, and that's what happens. You kick too many field goals, you don't win ball games.
No.
The offense was a little shaky. They had trouble throwing the ball. The run game was picking up. But overall, it was just a very mediocre game. I think against a team that is top 35, top 30 in the country. Texas Tech is not a bad team by any means. It's an away game. It's their first. It's their first big away game in the Big 12. I mean, it's their first Big 12 game. It's tough. But I think we're gonna go bowling this year. I do think we are gonna go bowling this year. So nothing to hang your head about. But first loss, and you're not going to win them all unless you're Georgia. So it was a good game. It was a good game.
That run game that ASU has it's really good, and I think it's going to be exciting to see. But I also say they do look pretty one-dimensional, and I'm kind of wondering if those other Big 12 teams will catch on to that, and if they'll have to change strategies. But I really like the way they've been playing. I really think that ASU U of A game in November is going to be really fun. I'm hopefully going to be going to that game. Maybe we'll go together. Actually, I'm not going to be.
That will be
not going to be there. I take that back. But
okay, take that back. I'll get you on FaceTime. We'll watch it together. Yeah. No, it's they'll be okay. But that U of A game will for sure be fun.
Yeah.
Lucas, you had a pretty big game this weekend. SMU beat the living shit out of Texas Christian. It was in Dallas, not Fort Worth. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of TCU fans were there, were they not? You were at the game. We had boots on the ground.
Yeah, I was at the game. A lot of TCU fans were there. Couldn't get tickets, though. It was really hard to get tickets for them. Not obviously the students could. We had about like 65% of the undergraduate overall class come. So a lot of people came out. The stadium was completely full until like half because it was a blowout. It was an absolute awesome game. Our defense shined. Just destroyed their offense. I mean, they kind of had one receiver go off, but we absolutely dominated them, and on offense just dominated them. And it just feels really nice because I'm not sure if you guys know this, but this is the last year that SMU and TCU are playing each other. TCU decided not to play SMU anymore after their big Fiesta Bowl win or whatever you call it, which doesn't seem so big now. So we're not playing them in the future, and we really got the last laugh. We're now in a better conference than them, and we just beat the shit out of them. So it feels great. Also, our ex-head coach, Sonny Dykes, got ejected, had to walk in front of all the fans. Oh, that was great. I hate him with a passion. I mean, he's such a traitor. It just felt good. I'm not sure where the season will take us. I don't even think we'll be incredible, but we got a shot, and I think the ACC is kind of wide open too, other than Miami. So it's going to be super interesting.
Lou, I'm going to go ahead and raise my hand. You made just an outrageous statement there. You just said the ACC is better than the Big 12?
Yes, 100%. Not even close.
In football? Are we talking basketball?
Football.
What are we talking?
Football.
Oh, we're talking football.
Historically, yes, 100%.
Really?
100%.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
I mean, Florida State's been awful this year, but and maybe you can make the.
What exactly is in the ACC that's good this year? Miami?
Clemson, Miami's number 7. I mean,
Miami's your best bet.
Big 12's Clemson and Florida State, although Florida State sucks this year. Big 12 has Utah, who's good this year. They're not even that good, though. Who else?
Utah, BYU, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State.
Well, Oklahoma's in the SEC now.
Oklahoma's in the SEC.
Oklahoma's in the SEC. Okay, yeah, I guess
my
two top teams
the conferences, bro.
SEC definitely used to be better.
Big 12.
They used to be better. The Big 12. The Big 12 used to be better.
Yeah,
they got gutted.
I think ACC is better. Definitely struggled this year. I wonder who's gonna be in that playoff. But I think it's so interesting too. Is just like these conference games really matter now, right? Somebody from the Big 12, from the ACC, from the SEC, and the Big 10's all getting a spot. So it kind of makes things really interesting. Do you guys have like a dog pick? Somebody who you think's not going to win the conference, but that's going to get an at-large bid?
In the Big 12?
It could be any conference.
I really like Utah. If Cam Rising is healthy, I think Utah can make
win.
A really.
They're going to win the conference, right?
I don't think so.
Who's going to win the conference?
I mean,
they're a pretty big heavy.
I think they are a pretty heavy favorite. All right. Well, no one from the Big 12. It's going to be an
Clemson?
SEC. It's going to be 2 SEC teams.
I mean, but they got to get other people in there too. Boise, I mean, a non-power team, obviously, maybe Boise, but like Clemson's a great pick. I think they could be up in there. I think definitely going to be.
There's going to be multiple teams
USCC.
from the Big 10. You would think.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
It's going to be like it's either going to be
Ohio State.
It's going to be Ohio State. I think that Ohio State will win the Big 12 or the Big 12
it, but
Big 10 championship.
Michigan could get an at-large bid.
Yeah,
I mean the way they're
let's
playing,
talk about
maybe.
that. Let's talk about the Michigan game. We're supposed to have another special guest here. I don't know if he's coming. Lou, were we having technical difficulties getting him on?
Yeah, let me invite him.
Is there any chance we can still get him on?
Yeah, I will try. Sorry, I just saw your text. In the meantime,
who did Wisconsin
let's talk
play
about
this weekend?
Wisconsin had a bye week, but last week
they needed a bye after what happened.
Alabama.
Yeah, after what happened to them in Madison, they needed a bye. Ooh, that was rough.
That was Little to be
I'll
desired.
go ahead. We'll come back to the Michigan game because our special guest definitely wants to talk about that. I really like this game, and I love Tennessee. Tennessee at Oklahoma on the road. Tennessee honestly dominated this game defensively. This was the ABC national game of the week. Wow, Tennessee looks good, Lou, and I know me and you are high on them. Their defense looked really good. Defense looked really good.
Yep.
Thoughts on that game?
I mean, all around look really good. I think did their freshman quarterback for Tennessee, I think he threw a pick or something, but he still looks pretty good. I mean, kind of just solidifying themselves as a dog. I think they're up there with Texas, Ohio State, and Georgia as those best teams. I don't know if Paul, you have any other thoughts on that?
I mean, Tennessee does two things really well. They run the ball really well,
Yeah.
and they control the trenches. Their front four, I dominate Oklahoma the entire time. I mean, that's all really it is in college football. Can you run the ball? I mean, but Tennessee is unbelievable. That kid can throw every ball, and he's a freshman or sophomore. But no, Tennessee is a top 5 team.
True freshman.
I mean, true freshman. I think. They can do.
Or maybe
everything.
a redshirt. I don't call me. Definitely a freshman.
Right now, I think Tennessee is the only team who can beat Texas.
I think Ohio State definitely will put up a fight. I think
Ohio State hasn't played anyone. They haven't played anyone. They've played three guys who don't know their last name.
I mean, you're talking about one of the best. You're talking about one of the best run games in college football. They have literally two of the best running backs in college football, and they always have the best line. They got a solid quarterback. Ohio State is just, man. This is their year. Denzel Burke went to Brophy. Shout out. And Saguaro. But yeah, I think they're good. But it's gonna be interesting.
It will be interesting. College football is a fun time. How's our special guest coming along? Is he gonna hop on?
I sent the invite. I don't know on that.
All right, we'll wait for him. We'll look ahead. Some games I want to highlight for Week 5. Louisville at Notre Dame. Two ranked opponents, 15 and 16. Looking forward to this game. I actually haven't seen a Louisville game. I didn't even know they were ranked 15th. Has anyone seen Louisville play? I know Notre Dame.
Oh, another ACC
might
team.
have
I
a
forgot
tough
to
time.
mention Louisville.
Louisville is a good ACC team.
Louisville has a nice squad. They have their quarterback went to Hamilton, actually.
Interesting. I did not know that.
He can throw the ball. I mean, they can throw the ball. I mean, their defense is pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're anything crazy, but they definitely have a good passing game. But I mean, Notre Dame is they're pretty well-rounded team, and they run the ball. Their quarterback Riley Leonard, I mean, he can throw, and he can use his legs for anything. But I mean, their defense, Notre Dame's defense is always got guys going to the league. But I would not put it past Louisville to keep it a close game or even snag out a dub. I think it's in South Bend also.
It is in South Bend.
So I think it'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, that's the early game. I would say early game of the week. And then the game of the week, down in Tuscaloosa, Georgia Bulldogs will be playing the Roll Tide, Alabama. Number 2 and number 4 facing off.
Wow.
Honestly, I think both these teams don't look great. No Nick Saban. Georgia, I mean, they looked very – Carson Beck is booty cheeks. So I don't know who's going to win this game. I would have to say Alabama primarily because they're at home.
I think this is going to be a super interesting game. Really quick, boys. just because this game is starting right now, I want to get a quick prediction on this Jags-Bills game. Just let's not talk about odds. Let's just say straight up winner. Just started. Josh Allen starting with the ball. And then we'll jump right back into this Georgia-Alabama game. Sorry to cut you off, Cade. I think the Bills here are going to get a really big victory, and I think they're going to kill. Cade, who you got?
I think I'm going to take the Bills. I told you Jacksonville would be a mess, Lou, and you didn't trust me at the beginning of the season. Give me the Bills.
Oh, as James Cook has a massive 20-yard receive on that first play. Wow. Paul, what do you think, Bills?
I'm going Bills. Jags have no confidence right now after those last two rounds, so I'm taking the Bills.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a great game. Paul, do you have a take on that Georgia-Alabama game?
I got to watch Alabama in its fullness last week, and they can do everything. They can pass the ball. Jalen Milroe can run like a running back, and their defense will hit you so hard. The only thing about Georgia is their defense is the best in the country by far. They hit like a truck, and they're fast and athletic.
And big.
Their safeties are unbelievable. But honestly, it depends on the quarterback play. I mean, Carson Beck, when they played Kentucky, looked like he was playing Pee Wee. So, I mean, if they can, it's whoever can run the ball, because they both have great defenses. But I think since Alabama will be at home, I think they'll notch out a win there.
Yeah, I agree there too.
And then my final game that I kind of saw was Arizona at Utah. I'm surprised Arizona was knocked out of the top 25. You know, it was on the road against another ranked opponent, and they're knocked out of the top 25. They're not ranked anymore. Arizona at Utah. That'll be a big game for U of A.
You know what?
They need a win.
I'm really not that surprised they got knocked out of the 25. They've not looked good. I mean, I can't really point to a game other than week 1, who I think it was just a terrible opponent that they played. I don't even remember.
They played NAU, I'm pretty sure.
Well, that was the game.
Yeah, they played NAU.
They struggled NAU.
Who did they lose to? I didn't.
I told Kansas State. They lost to Kansas State. Which is a good team, but they didn't play well. I just think they're going to struggle a lot, and you guys have to remember Cam Rising, Utah's starting quarterback, is out. So, so what's his name? Zach Wilson's little brother, I forget his first name, is the starting quarterback for that team. Let's go Mormons. So I think Utah is really going to take over this game. I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I was looking back. I think you're right. I don't think U of A was the team they were last year.
They lost.
And as we always say, we're looking forward to that game in November. I think ASU is going to have a good chance to win. I think
we'll see what happens.
Is that game in Tucson or is it in Tempe?
Last year was in Tempe, so it's got to be in Tucson because I went last year.
Yeah, it was in Tucson.
Okay.
Oh, one game I want to highlight for this week college football is Parents Weekend, SMU at Florida State at SMU. So that's going to be a good game. Hopefully DJU is going to have a terrible game. I can't wait to see them with my eyes. Hopefully that's just a good game.
Who do the Sun Devils have this week?
We play. That's a great question. We play Kansas. I think we play Kansas. Yeah.
Oh yes, I hate Kansas. And I hate their fans, too. Every time you see a Kansas fan, look who it is. God. It's a special guest, Mr. Camden Cats, Michigan fan, pirate enthusiast, Mr. Camden Cats. He's got his headphones on. Mr. Cats, we were just about to touch on the Michigan USC game, but we couldn't do it without you. You had boots on the ground. You were there. You saw it. What did you think? Give us some recap. We're all excited to hear it.
First of all, it's a pleasure to be on the show, and thanks for the invite. But it was great to have boots on the ground and see the game. Our offense is terrible. I mean, let's not make any jokes here. But,
Hey, running
at the end
into
of
the
the day,
ground.
yeah. I mean, they knew we were gonna run it on every play, and it just didn't matter. That's physical Big Ten football for you there. I mean, welcome to the Big Ten, USC.
Hey,
We don't care. Throw the ball
Cam,
for 30
I got a
yards.
question.
Doesn't
I got a
matter.
question for you. Donovan Edwards supposed to be the running back guy. Has really not been that good this year. Mullings, tell me a little bit about this Mullings guy. You like him, or what's your take on this running back?
I mean, I love Mullings. Former linebacker, runs hard.
Damn.
I mean, Edwards just can't run up the middle. He can't hit a hole hard enough right now. So
He
I mean,
sucks.
if he's not working, keep him off the field. But I mean, Mullings obviously is working. 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's all you need. I would love to see him get Edwards more included in the passing game because that's really his strength. And the only problem is they can't really pass the ball, so
Yeah,
it is tough to get him
true.
in there. But a win's a win. On to next week.
Speaking of that, if you were at the helm, who would you start at quarterback? I'd love to get your take on this because they're both completely terrible.
That's a great question.
They're both awful.
That's a great question. Nobody can throw the ball.
No, I mean, if I was at the helm, I'd have this Jaden Davis starting at quarterback, but that doesn't really seem like it's an option right now. But I mean, you can't have this Davis Warren out there. It's one thing. At least Orgy can run the ball.
Sorry,
He's a good runner of the ball. Warren can't do anything. He can't run it, can't pass it, can't read a defense. He's just fucking terrible. So, I mean,
he's awful.
You can't have him out there. You throw 3 interceptions against Arkansas State, you're not getting back on the field. So you can ride the bench and go transfer, become a fucking real estate agent or something. But he ain't playing for Michigan football anymore. That's for sure.
I couldn't agree more. And then Cam, my last question is this basically Walmart version of Iowa is what you guys look like this year. How far do you think this team could go?
I mean, I think this team can go as far as it develops. I think with Orgy, you kind of got to try to follow this Jalen Milroe blueprint in Alabama. You run the ball a bunch and you get him out of the pocket, and you hope to God he develops a little bit as a passer. Because I mean, you saw when the
Lamar Jackson strategy.
Well, yeah, I mean Lamar's a running back, but we can talk about that later. But
exactly.
I mean, you saw how the defense played when the team didn't turn the ball over. They still got a top 5 defense in the country, so they're going to be in a lot of games this year. You just need to get something from the offense, and you can't give the ball to the other team. I mean, it's about as simple as that. So, I mean, if Orgy can develop a little bit, and maybe you can give them 100 or 150 yards a game and just not turn the ball over and be able to make a throw when they need it, I think they can go as far as they want. But, I mean, that's a big if there, so it really depends.
You spoke about that defense. Where do you think, if the draft were today, where do you think Will Howard would be drafted?
Well, Will Howard plays for Ohio State. He's a quarterback. But
Fuck,
Will Johnson.
Who's your cornerback?
Talking about?
Who's your corner? Johnson, whatever.
Will
Close
Johnson.
Close enough. Close enough. That's kind of funny. It's Ohio State.
But
it's kind of funny.
But I think Will Johnson's a consensus. I think Will Johnson's he's a consensus top 10 pick. Anybody you ask around the league, I think he has the opportunity to be a top 5 pick. I think he's without a doubt the top corner in the class. So I mean, it definitely depends a lot where NFL teams are and what their needs are with corner. I think he could go probably at the least at 10, but I think you could see him at 2 or 3. I think you could see a guy like Mason Graham go in the top 5 too. So I mean, it really just depends how they play for the rest of the season. Hopefully the defense gets a chance to kind of show off and they're not on the field for 80% of the game like Texas. It's impossible to, no matter how good your unit is, to ask a defense to play 80% of the game against one of the best offenses in the country. You're going to give up some points. So they need the offense at the least, not to turn the ball over and to stay on the field for a bit just to give the defense a little bit of rest. So, yeah.
Yeah, that defense is sure going to be the reason why the Michigan Wolverines will take a deep run. And honestly, the only game that matters is there's some games in between that matter against Oregon, but the last game of the season is the most important for them.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be on the road in Columbus.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's all that really, that's the game. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. I mean, I'd love to see us be 10-1 and go in there and another top 5 matchup. Obviously, that's a dream, but boy, would it be pretty funny if we end up being terrible and we're like 7-4 going in there and we beat them by 20. That'd be pretty damn funny, wouldn't it? So
that would be pretty funny.
Ohio State hasn't beat us in 4 years, and hopefully that isn't going to change this year. So let them get all the hype now. That's how it always is.
Looking forward to it. Exactly. We're going to move into a little Week 3 NFL recap. I don't know if anyone saw that Thursday night game. Jacoby Scooby-Doo is a joke. I don't know why he's a professional quarterback. Jets absolutely roll the Patriots 24-3. Paul, you're not a fan of Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think I know you're not a fan of him, but he's still good. What did you see in that game? What did you like? What did you hate?
I want to say I'm not a fan of Rodgers. He's a cancer, but he's the best ball spinner that has ever graced the NFL. I've watched him for 18 years throwing the ball, and he's the best. He's the best pure thrower.
It's no Kenny Pickett, but
I watched. Oh, yeah, no, I mean he played a good game. I mean the Patriots defense is they're like scrappy bits and pieces of like these average players. But I mean he's got good targets. I mean you got Garrett Wilson who's very underrated. I mean even Conklin's a good tight end. I mean you got Mike Williams who's a great addition.
Yeah.
I mean when he's
old as shit.
He's 6'4".
They got a lot. They got a lot of weapons up there in New York. A lot of weapons.
He's 215. I still think the offensive line needs to gel a little bit better because Rodgers can't move. He can't move anymore. I mean, Rodgers will be good, but I don't think the Jets are going to be good anymore. I don't think they're going to be doing too much.
What a take!
It's the Patriots.
It is the Patriots.
I think the Jets camp is maybe 10 wins.
I just want to say, I thought Aaron Rodgers looked pretty mobile. He did a pretty good job moving in that pocket for what he expected. And but you're right, Paul. He's really
old.
good at spinning the ball, and he is old too.
He's 40.
Next game up is a pretty much dog shit game. Giants Browns. Daniel Jones actually played pretty good, 24 for 34, 236 yards, 2 TDs. Giants tried to lose it here late. Browns end up losing 21-15 in Cleveland. Just a dog shit game. Actually watched for about 5 minutes of it. Malik Neighbors, he's a dog. That guy can make a catch from anywhere.
So good.
I mean, the Browns will always be the Browns.
He's
proven differently. I mean, they need to get Watson back on the jerk-off plan because he can't throw a ball to save his life. So,
no, he cannot. I'm pretty sure they're pissed off about Baker. Next game, big game. While Jordan Love is gone, the Packers go 2-0. They go to Nashville and win 30-14 against the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis actually had a pretty good game, 24 for 34. 260 yards, 2 TDs. Malik Willis, though,
revenge game,
73 yards rushing. Revenge game. He got drafted by them. What do you see from Malik? I mean, he is answering all the phone calls right now down in Green Bay.
Oh yeah.
What do you think, Paul?
Willis, man. He's an athlete. I mean, he's an athlete. That's what makes him really good. I mean, we got some good guys. We got some good ball catchers. I mean, we got Christian Watson, we got Jaden Reed, we got Doubs. I mean, he had 73 yards rushing and a touchdown. So he did his job. He didn't turn the ball over. Whenever you don't turn the ball over, you have a chance in any game. The defense had 8 sacks. We had 2 picks, a fumble recovery, and one of them was a pick six. It was a defensive effort, but Malik Willis did his job. He didn't turn the ball over. He made the right choices, and they got a 16-point win away. The Titans are no by any means a good team, but it was a win that we needed to have, and I think Malik Willis is going to be a good backup for sure. He could even start for a team that needs.
Agreed. Will Levis tried to dive for a first down behind his own possession. It was 4th and 2. I don't know if anyone saw that. That looked hilarious, though. Go look that up on Twitter or X. That was
Levis's weekly turnover that makes you think he's playing Pop Warner. So
that was a pretty good play.
Yeah.
Next game we want to highlight. Jim Harbaugh goes to Pittsburgh and gets shut down by that Steelers defense. Steelers Nation comes in hot. We know Camden Katz is a big Pittsburgh fan. Justin Fields continues to not lose the game. Actually played probably his best week so far. 25 for 32, 245 yards, 1 TD. Najee had 18 carries for 70 yards. God, that Steelers defense is good. What did you see there, Cam?
I mean, Fields just keeps progressing every week. I mean, he's played better every week he's played. He's not turning the ball over. I mean, the one interception wasn't a great throw, but easily could have been batted down. I mean, bounced off of 7 players and then was caught. I mean, can't overreact. A few weeks in the season, but boy, is the defense good. I mean, first time since the Steel Curtain, they haven't allowed more than 10 points through 3 games. I mean, there's not really any weaknesses. Joey Porter is starting to look like a top 5 corner in the NFL. I mean, obviously the D-line and the D-ends are there. And then, I mean, with Patrick Queen up the middle, there's not a lot of holes. I mean, obviously they haven't played a great offense yet. I mean, even the Chargers, kind of strength of their offense is the run, and that's not good for them. I mean, going up against that D-line, that was just never going to work. And with Herbert hurt, he was getting killed all game. But, I mean, you can't be mad at what you've seen. I mean, getting Fields for a 6-rounder, he's looked great. He really did throw the ball very good in that game. Made a lot of plays when he needed to. Offensive line looks like it's getting better. Definitely an improvement from the last 2 years. I think the sky's the limit for them if they get good quarterback play out of Fields. I mean, it's definitely a championship defense. I don't think anybody will argue with you there. I mean, and with the division not exactly getting started too hot, Browns are 1-2, Baltimore's 1-2, Cincinnati might be 1-2. I think they will be. I mean, it gives them a big step up. I mean, the last 10 weeks of the season is what's going to mean everything for them. It's where they play all the divisional games. But, I mean, they do have quite
sure. Those last 8 games the Steelers have is tough.
They do have quite a nice track record against Lamar.
Quick Steelers question, Cam. I just made a trade in one of my fantasy leagues, and one of the ancillary parts, I got Najee Harris. Wasn't too super excited about it, but kind of was like thought there was some upside in Najee. How do you think he'll do going forward if Justin Fields continues to progress?
I mean, I can never get a read on Najee. Every year I think he's going to have a breakout year and do great. I mean, the big positives are, and I do think Jaylen Warren is a little banged up right now. He was banged up in the preseason, and he hasn't really looked healthy throughout the year. But, I mean, he's getting a lot more of the share of the carries this year, and the offensive line has improved. And late in games, that offense just is grinding on people with how much they're being on the field due to the defense. So, I mean, you saw it later in that Chargers game. I mean, Najee really wasn't having a great game up until that 4th quarter, and then just the run started coming, chunk run after chunk run. I mean, he really should have had a touchdown if they weren't up so much in that game. They got to the 1-yard line and kneeled it out. So, I mean, I think there's definitely some upside there. Offensive line's playing a lot better. I think they're definitely a run-first team. So, I mean, when they're effective, Najee's going to have a good game. It's just how many points is this offense going to score, and how many points do they really need to score, They're not going to take a lot of additional risks until they have to, until that defense gives up some points, which, I mean, it's going to happen. It's the NFL. There's a lot of good offenses, and they're going to need to eventually score. But I like him. He looks slimmer this year. He looks healthy, and when he has big games, he scores a lot. So he's definitely kind of one of those boomer bust guys every week in your fantasy lineup. But not a bad little side piece in the trade.
For sure.
Next game up I wanted to talk about, because we haven't gotten your 2 opinions, Cam and Paul. Bears go to Indianapolis in a game that which they kind of seemed that they should win. They end up losing 16-21. Caleb ended up throwing the ball 52 times, threw for 363 yards, 2 touchdowns, but I think he had 2 interceptions, and one of them was really bad. What's your thoughts on Caleb and this game? Certainly, me and Lucas, we saw it coming. He's going to try and do too much, and it's just not going to work out this first season. It takes a little bit to get adjusted to that new NFL speed. He looks like he's in the Pac-12.
No, I mean, I watched the game. I watched him last week against the Texans. I mean, he's got a ton of weapons. He's getting Komet involved a lot more. I mean, he's got Dunes. I mean, it would be nice to have Allen out there. But I think he's frustrated by the fact that he's not like having instant success. You can kind of see. You saw him on the sidelines. I mean, he would come off the field and he looks like he just he threw 5 picks. But I think he's just kind of upset about how he's playing because I mean his whole career he stepped in that one game for Rattler and since then he's been the man. So I think he just has to acclimate to the game. He threw some stupid balls. I mean, but there's some glimpses of him. I mean, he plays pretty well, but I think he's just frustrated by the fact that he's not, throwing 3 touchdowns and throwing 300 yards. So I think he just has to understand that, he's got DJ Moore and he's got O'Dunes and he's got Komet and he's got some of these good weapons. I think he just needs to play more team ball. And I think he just needs to calm down a little bit, and I think he'll be fine. But I think he just needs to understand that the NFL is a different animal.
Yeah, the NFL is definitely a different animal. Yeah. Cam, what's your thoughts on Mr. Caleb Williams?
Well, I mean, first you got to look at kind of what could be possibly causing some of this stuff. I mean, Eberflus is a fucking terrible coach, so he has no clue what's going on out there. I mean, he was absolutely brutal in that Indianapolis game.
No.
I mean, the play calling was terrible. I mean, and the offensive line is terrible also. So, I mean, Caleb's running for his life in every play. I mean, I think this is kind of what you expected to see here. I mean, by no means is he necessarily Mahomes, but I think this is kind of what Mahomes would have looked like in his first year. I mean, he thinks he has the ability to lengthen and make a play on every play, no matter what's happening. And I mean, when you're throwing the ball that much, you're going to throw some interceptions. I mean, he's taking a lot of risky throws, and that's kind of part of the rookie quarterback in today's NFL. I mean, they're just not giving these guys a lot of time to develop. I mean, I get they have a lot of great weapons, and he could possibly step in, but when you don't have an offensive line that can block, I mean, and you haven't been in the NFL for a while, I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a recipe for disaster. I mean, it doesn't matter how great your weapons are if you don't have time to throw them to them. And when you got a defensive-minded coach in Eberflus that is a fucking idiot, I mean, yeah, there's not much you can really do. I think these sky-high expectations for Caleb were always going to be a bit unrealistic. I mean, everybody thinking the Bears were just going to step in and win 11 games in that division. They got to play Detroit twice. They got to play Green Bay twice. I mean, Minnesota is looking like one of the best teams in the NFL for 3 weeks. So, I mean, you're talking about definitely a top 2 division in football. So, I mean, I think they'll be lucky to win 7 games this year. I mean, I don't see them beating Detroit. I don't see them going 2-0 against Detroit, Green Bay, or Minnesota. So, I mean, it's a developing process, and I mean, it's a rookie quarterback. Yeah, I mean, it's very rare to see a guy like someone like Stroud walking on their rookie year. I mean, that's about the only guy you can really think of in the last 10, 15 years that as a true rookie has really stepped in and just been great. I mean, you look at a guy like Mahomes, he got to sit behind. I mean, even a guy like Love last year, who I think I'm very high on. I think a lot of people around the league are very high on. I mean, he was behind Rodgers for 3 years, and still the first half of the year, he was really struggling to get his feet under him. And I mean, the NFL is a different game. I mean, you've been playing in the Pac-12 against a defense, a high school team to score 40 points on, and all of a sudden you're coming to the NFL with a shitty offensive line. And I mean, welcome to the show, buddy. I mean, it ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
So.
No, the NFL is a different beast. Afternoon game. our Arizona Cardinals take a defeat at home 13-20. I think there was substantial coaching errors. I know it just didn't. Kyler, again, when they lose games, it looked like Kyler's trying to do too much. They go for it on 4th and 1, end up not getting it when they couldn't kick the field goal, and then they go for it on 4th and 7. Luckily, the defense gets a stop, but it looked like they got to the 50-yard line and late in the game and just couldn't move the ball after that. Lions didn't look great. Cardinals don't have a great defense. They just couldn't stop the run, which really killed them for clock management time. The time of possession was huge. Lou, what's your take on the game? Cardinals, what do you go from here?
I don't think I think a few things went wrong. I'd say number one, Kyler's decision making was questionable. He just definitely didn't make some good decisions. He threw a bad pick. I think some of the play calling could have been questionable, but I don't think you're giving the credit that the Lions deserve. They're a pretty good team, and their run defense is really good. And I think that's Drew Petzing's offense. Is our pass game is going to thrive off our run game. James Conner could not get anything going. We had no run game. It was Kyler, and you don't want to have to rely on him for the run game. I think that was the issue. We didn't look great, but we also didn't look completely terrible. I mean, it was a 7-point game. Not as, they covered the spread, but I think there's some good and bad things to take away. I still think that 7 to 8 game range is probably where we'll land up, but I see some significant improvements from us. We just need some edge rushers, and I think we'll be good, but I think we're gonna still win some games that we're not supposed to this year and cause some chaos. We're still a really good team. Kyler's still got a shot to have a pretty good season.
I mean, the called back pick six was also fucking terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
awful.
That changes the whole game. I mean, I don't understand how you got to blow the whistle on that play if you're going to blow it. But once you let that play go, you can't call it back after that. That's a live play. I mean, it doesn't matter on what the clock was. You can't call that back. The thing that worries me about Kyler, he doesn't throw the ball up the middle of the field. I mean, he's 5'7". And it just scares me. You can't see over the offensive line. I mean, every deep ball he took yesterday was off of his back foot to the sideline. I mean,
and do you think that's an issue of our line too? I mean, obviously you're right. He can't completely see over the line all the time, but I don't think it's as big of an issue as people say. It really hasn't stopped him, and ultimately, throwing anything over the center of the field is difficult. That's not where Marvin has been straying a lot. They've been sending him to the corners.
I mean, I think it's difficult. I would just like to see some play calls that isn't a jump ball for him. I mean, 80% of the passes he gets is Kyler running outside the pocket and just hucking it up and hoping to God that he comes down with it. And I mean, you can do that sometimes. That's not a sustainable way to create offense, though. And you go up somewhere with some better corners that can shut him down. I mean, that's going to be a problem. I mean, maybe not Harrison over the middle, but you want to get a guy like McBride involved up the middle of the field, on crossers, on posts, and stuff like that. It just wasn't there. I mean, I love Kyler. I just, at a certain point, it does become a problem with the tight. I mean, I think he can play good. I think his bad games are just really bad sometimes. And that's definitely an issue against better teams.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, definitely make a good point, but I also think the loss wasn't completely on him. Yeah, he definitely made some mistakes, but I think other things could have been better for sure.
I'm going to make a big note here. Make a big note here. They got the turnover, and then they went for it on 4th and 1. If I'm an NFL head coach and I get a turnover, I don't care what the ESPN analytics say. I always take the points. It's momentum. You get energy from the team. You just got a turnover. Reward your defense. Is anyone in a disagreement here? Let's reward the defense for getting points. Doesn't matter if it's 3 or 7. You just got a turnover. Get points. You don't.
I mean,
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. That 4th and 1 call was. I think it was to the short side of the field too. I mean.
Yeah, it was. It was.
The whole. I mean, I had James Conner he had 17 yards. So I think running, when you bunch the box and you crowd the line and you add your two tight end set and then you run these obscure like running plays and Kyler Murray is fast and he's an excellent athlete, but the whole game you weren't that wasn't your motion. I mean, you gotta. I think the best way for Kyler Murray to get in the groove, because it always seems when he plays, it always seems like he's just out there, like it's just he's on the playground. It doesn't ever feel like there's anything set. I mean, you got to get guys like McBride and Harrison, you got to get them in a rhythm. You got to get slants going across the middle. You got to set screens for him. Maybe get Harrison, maybe give him a bubble screen, or maybe get him something just to throw. He feels the ball and he kind of understands that he's part of the game, because all these throws is Murray just kind of like, all right, well, he's down there somewhere. I'm going to look for 18. I'm going to throw it. And that's not, you can't do that against these secondaries, especially the Lions. I mean, all day they were taking away the run, and he threw that pick in the end zone, which I watched it and I turned the TV off because I was like, I don't need to watch
that was
this
a bad throw.
because you look at Murray on the sideline, he just kind of goes like this. I'm like, well, why are you doing that? Get James Conner in the flat, spread the offense, get short intermediate routes. I mean, not everything has to be a 25-yard pass to Marvin Harrison.
No,
yeah, and I mean,
it's all about rhythm, and I think the Cardinals lack that rhythm. I think you got to get in sync, guys.
It's complimentary football, and I think once again you got to give credit to the Lions' run game. We have a good run game, but they just completely stopped us. And like what Cam said, it's hard for Kyler to sit in the pocket and throw the ball down the field. So if we can't get that run game going, we're kind of one-dimensional, and I just think our run game wasn't there.
I mean, also, I didn't necessarily hate that play call on 4th and 1. I mean, I don't know how Kyler doesn't beat that guy for a yard one-on-one. I mean, he's supposed to be this ultra-athletic runner. I mean, you got to be able to beat a corner one-on-one for a yard on the outside on a one-on-one matchup. I mean, it's not great. I think, I don't know, you getting stopped running the ball up the middle all day. I mean, I don't love running it up the middle there. I mean, I thought they got exactly what they wanted out of that play call. They got a one-on-one battle for Kyle to beat him in the sideline. I mean, he just lost it. I don't know. I mean, I think the Cardinals are kind of in a better position than a lot of people expected them right now. I don't think this is a playoff team right now with the defense, and they definitely
defense is a big issue.
And they definitely, it wouldn't hurt to get a more reliable number one receiver outside of Harrison. So,
I think three of the linemen are hurt. I mean, they don't have anything to protect Murray, and I think James Conner, when he's not on, Lucas is right. When he's not on, they scramble and they do these obscure pass plays. But
and I mean, what I saw defensively. What you saw defensively in that last possession, they run the ball twice, the Lions, to run out the clock, and then they don't double Amon St. Brown. I mean, that's the only guy on the field. They got nobody else who can beat you besides your two running backs. How do you not have man coverage and safety help on top? I don't know what you're doing. That corner got killed, and then the game's over. I mean, how do you not double him?
Can't give someone else beat you.
Nope. Yeah. And that was ridiculous. All right, moving on. Final game of the week I wanted to highlight. Chiefs-Falcons. Again, you just can't bet against Patrick Mahomes, especially in prime time. Guy is just a killer. He looked pretty good. I thought the Falcons actually would have came back, but that Chiefs defense, wow, what a stand there at the end. Stop him twice on 4th down in that fourth quarter. Any thoughts here, boys, on Mahomes and the Chiefs?
I mean, the Chiefs are just the Chiefs at the end of the day. I mean, they just have a knack of winning these games. I mean, they've showed it over the last 3 years. I mean, these close games in the fourth quarter, they just win. I mean, the Chiefs defense, I think, is a top 4 or 5 unit in the NFL. I mean, you saw it all last year. I mean, maybe not overall stats, but boy, do they just make the plays when they need to when it's in the fourth quarter. I mean, just consistently they do it. I mean, Trent McDuffie is probably a top 5 corner in the NFL right now. And, you got Chris Jones on the inside and you saw there's great linebacker play last night too. I mean, you can complain all you want about the penalties, and that was definitely, I think, PI. But I mean, there were some not so great calls I thought on that last drive against the Chiefs defense. Also, I mean, not that it matters that much, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you can't get 4th and 1, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. And I mean, I don't love that play call. I don't get it. If you're Atlanta, the strength of your team is supposed to be the O-line in the run game. I don't understand why these teams consistently try to run outside of the numbers on these 4th and 1s. I mean, if you got a good O-line, then it should be you against them. And if you can't get a yard running the ball up the middle, then you don't deserve to win the game. So that's about all I got to say about it.
I think too, on the offensive side, not that that Kansas City is the most talented wide receiver room in the whole NFL, but Rashee Rice has really become that number one target and taken over that duty. And I think he's been training a lot with Kelsey over the summer when he's not in trouble. So shout out to Rashee Rice for being that guy. I think he's going to continue to be that guy.
SMU guy.
Is he SMU alone?
Yeah, he is. I had a class with him. He never showed up. He never showed up.
He threw a nice right hook up in Dallas, I think, by SMU over the offseason too. That got him in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, at a nightclub.
I mean, the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs. I mean, 15 is he's going to ball all day. But I mean, the drive before the second last drive the Falcons had. Kirk Cousins, he's got Drake London and Kyle Pitts, I think, both for 6'4", 6'5", and he throws these balls in the dirt. I mean, throw. I mean, you got a 1-on-1 with a corner who's 6 foot, 6'1". I mean, get these guys in there and make them make a play. I mean, the one with Kyle Pitts was obviously a PI, but there was a play on the left. It was a left hash, and Drake London was right there. He was running down the side, and Kirk Cousins doesn't put it anywhere near where he can go up and get it. I mean, you got a big target. These big targets are so useful. I mean, look at like a T. Higgins. I mean, those guys can go get every ball. I don't know why Kirk Cousins doesn't put more confidence in them. And I like the two back, Algier and Robinson, but you got to get Robinson more catches in the flat, more catches out wide. I mean, in that 4th and 1. I mean, come on. It's every man, for himself out there, and they ran into a left. It takes too long to develop. These plays take too long to develop for one play. You know where the ball's going, and you know what they got to get. I mean, you got to get these guys. You got to get the ball right away. It takes too long for these plays to develop for a 1-yard gain. Either run it behind the center in the A or the A gap, or run a slant. Get these guys out in the flat. But I think play calling, and I think Kirk Cousins needs to get these receivers more momentum with these balls that are a little bit higher in the air for these guys to go make some plays. That's what they do. He's got 2 big targets. I mean, that's why they brought Cousins in, because he gets the ball to these guys. I mean, he's not flashy. I mean, Kirk with his chains on the plane. I mean, he's not flashy, but get these guys involved. I mean, don't be afraid. These guys are fucking 6'4", 6'5". They're big targets. I mean, against the small corners. But bad play calling and stupid 4th and 1 call. That's all. I mean, they had a chance to win.
Yeah. You always want a chance to win against the Chiefs. Final 2 games are Monday night. Right now, actually, I think the Bills have a big lead on the Jags as we're recording this. I think the Bills are up 13-0. Jacksonville's driving.
Yeah.
And then Washington at Cincinnati. Give me some plays, boys. What do you got for this Washington-Cincinnati 7.5 at home? Can the Commanders find a way to win this game? They really shouldn't, because the Bengals are 0-2. They need to find a win. So, any thoughts on this Monday night game doubleheader?
I don't see. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. All right. I don't see the Bengals losing this game. I mean, they do the same show every year. I mean, every year they're terrible for the first 2 games, and they turn it on. I mean, Chase is probably finally kind of in somewhat of game shape. You got Higgins. The Commanders have the worst defense in the NFL. Definitely the worst secondary in the NFL. I think it's just too much. I think if you want to bet some props, I think Mike Gesicki might have a pretty big game. And T. Higgins, I think, last 5 games at home has over 60-plus receiving yards. So
side prop Gesicki, gritty touchdown too.
If you can find it offered,
Paul, you got any thoughts on this game?
It's the Bengals. They go 0-2, 0-3. Joe Burrow, he's always struggling to get in a rhythm. The Commanders, they struggle to score. They like to kick their field goals, but the Bengals, they have T. Higgins coming back tonight too. You got your 1-2 punch with Chase and Higgins back home. I think Joe Burrow will settle in, and I think it's a prime time game. It's a Monday night game. I'm taking the Bengals. It's against a rookie quarterback too. Who hasn't been playing. Bad by no means. Daniels hasn't been playing bad. But I think that it's tough for these guys. They got. It's only their 3rd game in the NFL. Shit, I would be shaking in my boots. So, I'm taking the Bengals at home for sure.
Love it.
Kate,
that's about it.
I want to get this. Kate, what's your take on the game tonight?
Okay.
My take is that the Bengals are going to actually showboat the Commanders. I don't think this is close at all. I don't think Jalen Daniels is good. I like the Bengals here everywhere. I think the defense shows up this week. I think it's the home opener. Is it not? Or was week 1 the home opener? Oh, no, week 1 was the home opener. They got embarrassed by the Patriots. I think Cincinnati gets hot here. They got a pretty easy schedule. Panthers, they do have the Ravens, but then they have the Giants and the Browns. So I think they get hot here. I think it's the start of the AFC North getting hot at one of those 2 top conferences or divisions, 2 top divisions. So I like the Bengals here. I like the Bengals big. Looking for, if you got the alt spread, if you can find it, like 13 and a half.
13 and a half.
Yep.
I say we go. I say we pick one. Talk about one quick matchup for next week, and then we'll wrap up this thing that we like. Since kind of have one on the top of my head, one that I like. I think Paul is probably going to mention this one. So Green Bay, Minnesota. That's my game of the week. Jordan Love might be back, so we'll see what happens there. I think that's going to be interesting. Paul, if that's not your pick, do you have a pick?
The Bills-Ravens play Sunday. I think it's Sunday night or something.
Yeah,
I think that will be a good game. It's in Baltimore. It's two good quarterbacks. I know people sometimes rag on Lamar Jackson, but he's a good quarterback. But it's two good quarterbacks against each other. I think that will be a good game. Sunday night games are just, they're always fucking exciting.
Agreed.
But side note with the Packers, it's in Lambeau. We might have Jordan Love back. So I think it's gonna be a really fun game. And I will be watching it with the family. So
that's my MVP, baby. Jordan Love, come back. We need yards for the MVP.
Go Pack, go.
Cam, you got a game for us that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I think this. Let me see. Give me 1 second here. I think this. Oh no, that's week 5. Sunday. Oh no, sorry, week 5. There we are. Biggest game in all of college football. We got Alabama, Georgia next week.
I think Alabama we already touched on this before you joined.
But all football,
everyone's on Alabama.
Yeah,
I think Alabama's gonna surprise a lot of people. I think Milroe is playing at a really high level this year. I think they're a really complete team. I think the offensive line's improved. I think at Alabama, I don't think Georgia is as legit as people think they are. I think they're a really good team, but Just you can get comfortable. I think it's really easy to just fall into every year thinking. I think a lot of what they've done this year is kind of on name brand. I mean, they beat what looks like a pretty bad Clemson team by a lot, but I mean, boy, was that Kentucky game a few bounces away from going bad. I mean, you look at that pick six that got called back. I'm not so sure that hit the ground. So I think Alabama at home. Kalen DeBoer's first real big game as the head coach there. I think it's going to shock a lot of people and look for them to win by double digits. That's my hot take.
Love that.
Cade, you got your pick?
I'm gonna go back to the NFL. Another doubleheader next week. I don't know if this is going to be a common theme, but it's a late game. Seattle at Detroit. I don't think Seattle's for real. I think Detroit is for real. I think Seattle is a pretender. I don't think Geno Smith has it. They do have a couple weapons on offense. I think Kenneth Walker will be back next week, but I don't think Seattle's defense is as good. They haven't really played good opponents, so I'm looking forward to that game. I think Detroit gets a big win at home on Monday Night Football.
I love that. One more quick thing. I got a unique fantasy matchup in one of my leagues. I got a 10-point league. I got Jaden Daniels, and he's got Joe Burrow. Do you guys think I pull out the victory tonight? I think I'm going to win it. I think Jaden Daniels is going to score a touchdown rushing. So, yeah. Paul, you got any take on that?
You said 10-point lead?
10-point lead.
I think he'll be able to do it. I think he'll be good. He'll definitely get his rushing touchdown in. If not, he'll get his yards.
I mean, I like Daniels. He'll run the ball a lot. They're going to be down, I think, so he'll be throwing it, get some garbage touchdowns. I mean, it'd be hilarious if he lost, but
yeah, but
I think you're fucking dead. I think Cincinnati's going to put up 35 on Cincinnati or on Washington, and they're going to throw 4 touchdowns, and you might be dead. Joe Burrow might throw for 300.
Oh, okay. We'll see how that goes. I mean, it's a possibility for sure.
All right, well,
that's a possibility for sure. That'll do it for us. Thanks, special guest, for coming on. Big week in sports next week. Always a big week, and we will talk to you guys hopefully soon. Good luck with school. Good luck with football. Postseason baseball is coming up soon, so get ready for that. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, fellas.
It was a pleasure.